essentially, to try and stop or attack or in some way pounce upon a barge carrying a passenger, a particular drow by the name of Real, or rather known to you as Real. His full name, of course, being much more complicated to speak. Specifically, Felrukoth, if anyone is especially curious. But you had, through ways of searching in this particular area, you had found a likely location where it would be stuck, and through the process of scouting and scouring and scrying, you were able to keep a good timeline. But due to no fault of your own, it became stuck in roughly the same place that you thought it would be. But you were able to keep watch and know that it was there and move upon it quickly. And many of you are outside of the barge now in the dark as the crew is releasing animals to attempt to drag it along the bank to try and get it to a more flowy space, if I know anything about the nautical terms. But one of you was brave and quiet and ambitious enough to get aboard. And as Fionn crept into the below areas where numerous staterooms had been put upon in this cargo boat, you saw several closed doors and silence. What would you like to do?
I am currently reading the wording of a spell just to make sure that I can do this.
Okay.
Good way to start out.
You immediately pull out your pocket reference and start to flip from page to page stealthily, thinking, I wish Aladrin was here.
For no particular reason.
And you think deep down inside that he'll be tight there. He'll be tight there.
Now, the thing is that disguise self doesn't specifically say that it disguises your voice. But what I wanted to do was use it specifically to disguise my voice. As Zilra's voice.
If you were to disguise yourself entirely, hang on, let me see. Because I don't think it's a transformation that disguise stuff actually takes.
No, it's
And
just
if
an
you
illusion.
had some sort of, yes, but if you had some sort of if you had a noise illusion, a noise-based illusion, then definitely, because there are some spells that you can create other people's words and things like that. Let's see, you make yourself, including clothing, armor, weapons, other belongings on your person, look different until the spell ends. Yeah, it seems that this has everything to do with your outward appearance and nothing to do with your sound.
See, that's the weirdest thing. Like, I always assumed that you could use it, like, it included a vocal change, but, like, huh.
I mean, it doesn't physically change you, it's just illusory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and minor illusion, for instance, is a cantrip that specifically says that you can create someone else's voice. And so that would be the ideal spell in this situation.
Yeah. Shit.
When you still have the same option as last week.
Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I will draw my weapons. And I will write them. And then with frost, because I don't want my electricity to make zappy noises. I don't know if that would be a thing, but you know.
Oh yeah, definitely it would be. There are, even with the frost, there are little clicks as ice crystals form and shatter, but it's very quiet.
Yeah. And then I will do my best to find the best space to hide myself in.
Hmm.
And I will, after hiding myself, uh, just call out his name. Just uh, I can't remember. You just said it. I can't remember his name, but I'm sure Fionn.
Zelrakov.
Yeah, Zilrakov.
No,
And
wait. Yeah. I was about to say, it's like, no, that's Zilra. No, hang on. Let me make sure I don't have the wrong drow name. My goodness. Scrolling.
Yeah,
Nope,
you got
wrong
it.
file. Yeah,
Yeah, you got it.
it's Felrukov, not Zilra. Zilria. I mixed up the two names. It's Felrukov for real and Zilrilia for Zilra. Anyway, yes, Felrukov. You got it. So you probably go a little further into the boat towards the cargo area, if I were to guess, and you can get behind a piece of cargo that is there, although it does seem to be rather sparse. They don't seem to be moving too much. But you can find a box, maybe even two, to hide behind.
yeah,
As you call into the hallway, you just call his name.
yeah. Well, I also should state I was imagining. I don't know if I was imagining it was decently shadowy under in here because it's
Oh, it's
currently
super
nighttime and
shadowy.
yeah. So,
Shadowy AF.
so I'm
In fact,
leaning.
it's basically all shadow.
Yeah, so I'm leaning into my ring of shadows or whispers. I can't remember. No, it's the bow of whispers, ring of shadows,
Correct.
to make up
Yeah.
for any, not hiding.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I'll call out his name with kind of a taunting tone to it.
Okay. As you call out his name, I'm assuming like a loud volume, like giving a good shout.
Well, I mean, nothing that I feel like if you were shouting to someone across the house, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's a fair shout. Some houses are different than
Are
others,
you
but
picking a fight with him?
yeah. And you're calling out to him.
yes,
Bring him out,
Oh, gee.
hopefully.
He does in fact respond, and you can see that the furthest door on your right now, which would have been the first door on the left, opens just a bit, creeps open, and you can see a dark, shadowy face peering out and looking through one side of the hall and to the other, curious.
I will do it again. This time, just a wee bit louder.
As you speak it again, the face quickly retreats and the door closes. And then you hear another click as presumably a lock is latched. Then you hear voices.
All right, give me 1 second. I need to check a thing.
Yeah.
Because I need to
Yep,
check the wording of the fucking Ring of Shadow.
Sure.
And you did that in your voice, right, Theon?
Yeah.
Okay. Would we have heard that? Probably.
Not necessarily. I mean, he's given it kind of a quick shout. You may have heard something, but not necessarily. I mean, you heard something, but not
Okay.
necessarily the clearness of the words.
That kind of puts me on edge.
So, can I use the Shadow Whisper feature and make a deception check to convince them that they just heard a whisper? Heard a whisper of a voice, making it believe that there's nothing there.
I can certainly try.
I'm lost right now.
I'm trying to think whether or not that would be considered you being detected. I mean, you were certainly, in a sense, detected, and you are certainly in shadow. Why not? Magic's magic. Okay, yeah, make a deception check.
All right. Let's. Whew, okay. I'm actually a little nervous about this one.
So let me think about this too. If you're somehow detected while in shadows, you can spend one charge to make a deception check. Hmm.
Jesus.
Interesting. So, well, what'd you roll?
I rolled a 16.
16. Okay. The whispering, the sort of intense whispering, the discussion, presumably behind the door between two individuals, ceases, or at least gets quieter.
Now my only other question is am I sure that it was real who opened the door? Because you said it was only a peek, right?
Yeah. You could make a perception check at
Well, okay.
disadvantage because even though even though you can see in the dark, you can't see super well.
Yeah.
Not like Oramus.
And I roll flat. That's a what's my perception? +9, 26.
26, and that's with the disadvantage.
Yeah, well I usually have advantage, so I just rolled flat.
Oh, fair enough. What gave you advantage?
Ranger
Just curious.
stuff.
Oh, ranger stuff. Of course, it's a ranger.
Yeah.
All right. You thinking about it a bit, you think those features were a little feminine. I mean, to be said, there's not a substantial difference between the looks of Zilra and Real. Next to each other, you can certainly tell the one apart, but at a quick glance down a hallway, not a lot of difference in their face.
Yeah.
But
They're both drow.
I mean, kinda. Yeah, they share a lot of physical features.
Well, okay.
But I'm just saying.
I mean, it's really hard to tell the difference between elf males and elf females, especially in the dark.
Yeah, and it's dark. It's really dark to see already. They have, especially let's say it, natural camouflage. It's just I'm just saying, and it was only a moment, and it was through a crack in the doorway. But
Yeah.
yeah, you think it was feminine features.
I will try and stealth down the hall and approach the door as quietly as I can.
Okay.
One more question. Did the door open inwards or outwards, if I could tell?
It opened inwards.
Inwards? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm tempted to do another spell check or another stealth check because it's another day, or it's another day now. Or do you want to ride? I think the last one was pretty decent. I mean, after resting a little bit too. Yeah, let's get, or not resting, but sitting behind the boxes and such. Yeah, let's get another stealth check just for funsies.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Nat 20 for a 20.
Damn it! Why do I even ask?
30.
Okay.
30, actually, I think. No.
Okay.
I really did my math wrong on that. It's 27.
Yes, it's such a massive difference. So, why am I even
I
bothering to
feel
roll?
like in these kinds of circumstances, I don't know how high their perception is, but I feel like it could definitely make a difference.
Well, anyway, you can creep towards the door. You are pretty confident no one can hear you.
All right, and at this point, I'll kick the door in.
Okay.
Going north, huh?
I mean, yeah, Theon is fairly pissed at Real, so going for the very, very surprised,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, in this particular instance, yeah, um, go ahead and roll to hit. Go ahead and try to attack. See how effective your kick is.
Just roll like unarmed strike, I guess.
Yeah, basically.
15? Yeah, 15.
15. Okay. And go ahead and roll some damage just to see.
Right. Just a 1 plus strength, right?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a 1 because I have a 0 plus to strength.
Hmm. Fantastic. But yeah, with the 15, you're able to get a mighty strong kick on there, and you can hear it crack a little bit. And you suspect that if they hadn't have done the deadbolt there, that it would definitely open. But it is likely being held only by that second lock that you heard. But it did not get smashed open. But you think that another hit like that? Definitely. The damage itself isn't doing a whole lot, but it was really jarring on the wood of the frame.
Yeah.
But of course, they likely suspect that someone is out there.
Yeah. Yeah, then I'll go for another one, try and bash it in.
Okay, well, at
I
this
don't
time though,
Throw my
I would like
dice across the room.
I would like everyone to roll initiative because they might respond to your trying to kick the door in.
Everyone?
Yes, because there's a very good chance that you all will be brought in, so I just want to have that ready.
Lee's still pretty far away, just as a side note.
I'm aware,
Do you
but
know, I'm just letting you know. Do you have any idea how far away he is?
how far away did you want to be?
I imagine he was following. What was it again? I told him to go ahead, and I would bring around the horses and the goat.
Hmm.
Um, I could be I feel like I'd at least be a minute behind. That's pretty inconvenient for this, but do you
Okay,
think that's probably fair?
that's fine.
Okay.
I'd still like initiative rolls from everyone. So, well, everyone except Aldrin. So, Fionn, where are you sitting?
27.
God damn. Lee?
11.
I'm sorry, Molly Mort, was that 11 or 7?
11.
Molly Mort, 11. Lee?
4.
4. Okay, cool. And Ormus came in with a 12, and that's a decent number. Okay. You have the option. You can kick in that door again. No, the door hasn't opened. Nothing has been done. So, you want to try and kick it again?
Yeah.
Nice. Smashy, smashy.
Gotta commit.
That one is a 23.
That is definitely enough. You're able to, and you hear the crash as the door jamb breaks and the door is smashed open and it swings from right to left, and you hear it pong as it hits a wall that is relatively close, full 90 degrees, not much more. And on the other side, you see nothing. You just see darkness. There's nothing apparent. It does open up into a room, or rather, it kind of goes forward. Imagine like a stateroom on. Well, it's a really small stateroom. Imagine. Have you ever? Well, I'm trying to think like trains or cruises, but basically, it's like a small hallway, and then there's space on the right. That's a room, and you can't see anyone clear, but it does open up into a room, a small room, further ahead and towards the right. Like you can't see most of the room.
Could we assume
It's a
that
terrible description.
would Ormus and me hear that?
Not necessarily understanding what it is, because it's it's a noise, yes, but it's tough to determine what the noise is. But we can get to that on your turns. And again, you heard the shout, but it wasn't. You couldn't really tell the words. You just heard the noise. Because again, there is kind of a river going, and there are other noises going on too.
What and I know I heard voices coming from this room, and that's the room I saw the face in, right?
Yes.
All right, I'll use detect magic for my action.
Okay. Interesting choice. All right. When you cast detect magic, you don't see anything out of the ordinary immediately. And let me see how far detect magic can see things through. 30 feet of you.
Yeah,
1
Ormus,
foot of
that's what I was
stone,
thinking.
1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt. You see the aura of a bow just around the corner. And it shines in the same powerful, silvery, pure white light that is common to the other magics that you have seen from Bahamut. That it is identical in looks to Smash Mouth and to the spear.
I don't know if I'd be able to tell this. Does it seem like it's like, on someone's person, like it's like upright, or does it look like it's like on a table, or
It looks to be floating and vertical and pointing towards the hallway.
All right. What kind of action was kicking the door in again? Was that like a full action or bonus action?
I mean, overall, I'm willing to put that being as combinations of actions, realistically, between kicking in the door and doing this. Like, detect magic, is that a bonus for you, or for this, or is it a typical action?
Nah, it's still a full action.
Yeah, I would say you're pretty much done in terms of actions,
Okay,
for sure.
Cool. Would I mean, would it be a free action to close the door behind me?
Yes.
Yeah, then I will do that and stand in front of the door. I will say, I know you're in here. I can see you over there. And call that for my turn.
Okay. do something unusual and roll for Zora separately. Normally, I try to roll good guys and bad guys on their own. You know, all the good guys here, all the bad guys there. But Zora is an odd one, so I'm gonna keep her separate and just kind of see where she lands up. Okay. From the other side of the door, you hear, "It's mine, not yours. You stole it from me."
We beat him.
Our strongest beat your strongest. It was a fair fight. We didn't steal it.
Fair fight. Like I care about fair. I stole it fair and square. How about that?
Well, I'll tell you what. Either I steal it off of your cold corpse, or you come back with us. Either way, I'm leaving with the bow.
I thought we were gonna let him go.
Scare tactics.
I guess.
Fion is not happy.
Yeah, like, I don't intend on killing him. I just, I'm trying my best to not get to that point.
Well, the thing is I'm pretty sure this is gonna make it where you either have to kill him. Like, I'm pretty sure this is an ultimatum that would result in forcing your hand one way or the other.
I
Yeah.
feel like he'd force our hand either way.
Same.
He says, if you want it, come and get it.
Hook him up.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how you want to run initiative order for this.
Well, for what? We're still in initiative order. The others are still outside. They heard a bit of the crash. They don't really hear a lot of the stuff. It's still pretty dark. Lee is still walking towards the boat. Unless anyone's interjecting, then it's presumably your turn, Fion. He seems to be waiting for you. And you can still see the bow, and you can see it move a little bit, and now it's taken a position where, if you assume that he is holding it, it is now pointing at the door.
I wonder if.
And you heard Real's voice come from the other side of the door?
Yeah.
I'm concerned about. Does that mean that Real isn't in the room? Because he sees the bow pointing at him, and then he heard Real's voice from outside the door.
Oh no,
Well,
it's
no,
it's
like,
another
he's outside of
doorway.
the room.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Oh.
okay, so he came down some steps, and the first door, there were 4 doors, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. The first door on the left is to their room, and because of the way the rooms are configured, they sort of form a yin yang with each other for space, and so the hallway goes past a section of basically when you open the door, you walk in a bit, and then it opens into a slightly larger room, and that's where the beds are. And he's around that corner, past what is essentially a very small little hallway, or at least he seemed to be from the aura of the bow. And now, Fion, after kicking the door in, closed the door. Fion, did you close the door and go out in the hallway or in the room?
Into the room.
Oh, well, in that case, you don't see it come around the corner. We'll get to that in a second. I assumed you went out of the room and closed the door behind you again. But in that case, it's not your turn. Hang on. But he can see the bow around the corner, presumably ready to strike. But Anyway, so as I said, I thought you went outside of the room. I apologize.
Okay, I'm just still a little confused. Sorry. So I don't see it within this room.
You do. You see it around. Okay. You saw it around the corner, and then I assumed that you stepped out of the room, and then you saw it move from the corner to the hallway, like to move out in front of you. But you did not see that because you're still in the room. I was on the assumption that you went to the other side of the door, that you went outside again.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. Since you are in the hallway now, you still see it move around, but you don't see the aura of it. Well, I guess you do see the aura of it, but you also see him as he shoots 2 arrows at you, or attempts to. You know.
Also, one thing to keep in mind for this, I know he's like assassin built. He doesn't gain advantage on attack rolls because of being unseen. On me, at least.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's not unseen. He's right in front of you.
Yeah. Just I know how weird rogue builds can be, and you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he. What's your AC currently?
16.
Okay. So 1 hits. Nope. Actually, both hit. Yeah, I was looking at the plus to damage, not the plus to hit. Okay, so let's see. This particular bow, we're just gonna roll this. Seven and 9. So the first attack does 7 piercing damage, and the second attack does 9 piercing damage as they thunk thunk. His hands are just impossibly quick on this stringless bow as he just flurries it really quick.
All right, and I need him to make a dex save, which I know is going to be pretty good for him, but
A little bit. He rolled a. Well, okay. What's your AC or your DC for it?
17.
Okay, he failed,
Oh, he failed. Okay.
but it was close.
Do you have
Yeah.
evasion though? Oh, never mind. He wouldn't have evasion. He's not a. Well, he might. Fuck, I don't know.
That's 3d10. That's 14? Yeah, 14 fire damage.
Okay. All right, he takes 14 fire damage. All right. That being done, he will go back behind the corner again. But of course, you can still see the aura of the bow. You don't think that he knows that you can see him. And you can see him hide further, move further back. He's not around just the corner, but further back in the room. Let's see here. That being done, next up is actually Zora. But she will continue to be unseen and relatively unheard as she just keeps cover. You have no idea where she is. Everyone else stays outside, presumably. Just getting closer, etc., etc. And that would make it Fion, your turn.
I had a question real quick for Theo.
Sure.
Were you able to pick up Shadowblade yet?
Yeah, I have it, yeah.
Remember that gives you advantage in the dark, and it also does a ton of fucking damage. If you have it, I don't know if this would be a good time to use it because you only have one spell. You only have the one spell slot left, I think.
Yeah, I also already have my swords out and righted. Uh, but I will use my bonus action hidden step to turn invisible until the start of my next turn. I attack, deal damage, or force a saving throw.
Okay.
And I will just calmly walk up to where I think he is, based on my vision of the bow. And
Okay.
and if I confirm that it is indeed him, and there's not some voice throwing trickery stuff going on, I will attack him.
It is him.
You're gonna attack him, not just try to outright just take the bow.
I mean,
Attack him, yeah.
I'll add that when you come into the room essentially has bunk beds kind of on the right side, and he seems to be perching as far from the room in the far corner from where the doorway is to hide. And then on the bed, you can see Zora kind of creating a ball of herself, just being as close in as she can.
yeah. You propose a good idea, Molly, but
Quick, you only have moments. What are you doing?
yeah, I'll attack him.
All right. Roll to attack.
First attack is 21.
All right. The first attack, because he has no idea you're there, I'll give you advantage on it.
Okay.
But the second one, he knows you're there.
Okay, yeah. So it's still 21 because with my second roll, it would have been a 2. Or I
Okay.
don't have advantage. And 16 on the second one.
Nope.
No hit on the second.
No hit on the second.
All right, so that's 2d6 plus 5. Yeah, plus 5 because he's a humanoid. Oh, okay. That's 17. 12 plus 5 is 17. Yeah.
That works. All right. 17 damage.
And I will say to him, it doesn't have to end this way. I don't want to kill you. And that'll be my turn.
You see how they lie? They're here to kill us, Zora. Help me! Real says as he draws a short sword with one hand and attempts to slash at you. You probably remember how dangerous the short sword can potentially be.
Yeah.
Especially drow short swords. Especially this drow short sword. But he makes 2 slashes against you. That is 1 definite hit and 1 not even close. You take 8 piercing damage and 9 poison damage. So 8 piercing and 9 poison as it jabs in, and you immediately feel an eruption of burning pain that is well beyond that of the blade.
All right. That's not good.
Probably not. No save on this poison. It's just an immediate. It's not the poisoned effect, but it just does poison. So, luckily, of course, he doesn't necessarily have an ally yet. You imagine if Zora gets into the fight, it will potentially make things a lot worse.
Yeah.
Let's see. So he rolled a 23 in initiative order, and now it's 21. Zilra.
Or sorry, I forgot my hellish rebuke.
Oh yeah, he will attempt to save against it, and he does. He does. No point in rolling damage.
Oh yeah, because half damage bullshit.
Yep. Half damage bullshit. Let's see. Zilra. Let's see how she's feeling about Real. She is drinking that Kool-Aid. She screams, "Get out! Get out! Just get out!" And it is an impossibly loud screaming. So loud, in fact, that all of you can hear it outside. Maybe even Lee can hear it a little bit, although not necessarily fully making it out, as it's just this powerful screaming out.
Yeah, I'm gonna start running in when I can too.
I'll add too that after yelling it out, Zilra is no longer in a fetal position. She is now standing, and you can see that there's a slight dripping, almost phosphorescent green from her fingernails as she looks at you, and you think you see the same green in her eyes. You don't know what the hell this is.
I don't like it.
Yeah, almost certainly a bad thing. Let's see. Next up after Zora would be Oramus at 12. Oramus and Mollymort were close enough to be able to hear it, if I recall, and also Jacob, while Mark and Lee were a little further back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lee's wearing earplugs too, so
Okay. Understood. Canonically, earplugs. Got it. Oramus, what would you like to do? I forgot to roll for the NPCs.
I'm just gonna go as far as fast as I can.
So how far back did you guys stop from the boat?
I want to say about 60 or so feet because we didn't want to get too close, but we
That's
wanted
fair.
to be within distance to where we can get there relatively.
Okay. So, you can move towards it. The 60 feet, your movement speed's what, 30?
30 up.
Yeah, so with a dash, you can get to the boat. You're not on it. You would still have to do a little bit to climb it a bit. But I will add too that because of the nature of the boat. Well, okay. Anyway, yes, you can move towards the boat and you can get to it, but not climb on it yet.
I was gonna say I'm gonna grab Molly, dash forward, and then as a bonus action, miss a step. So I got an extra 30 feet.
I believe I'm still a dire wolf.
Are you?
I think so.
I'm proud of Trevor. I dare you.
Never mind.
Yeah, she is, because, like I said, I was editing the last session before this one. She's Direwolf.
Yep.
Ah, thank you, Fionn.
Okay, nope, never mind. I won't grab again. I'll just run forward as far as I can, and then miss a step as a bonus action. Inside.
Okay. So running forward as far as you can. Do you want to dash as well? Because what's the range on Misty Step?
30 feet.
Yeah. So you can
So it'll
run
be like
forward.
90?
Potentially, yeah. So you could run forward and dash, and then Misty Step onto the ship.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. So 60
Yeah.
feet, dash, miss a step, and then basically that's my turn. I gotta
Onto the.
figure out my bearings.
Got it. You can
That
bamf
now-
up above the stairway that you know, or rather suspect, goes down and that Fionn likely went into.
Okay.
And right behind Mollymort, or rather, right behind Oramus is Mollymort.
And as a dire wolf, my speed is 50 feet.
Indeed. You can get there, and the the barge is, of course, a bit high in the back. Well, sort of. I mean, it's you guys are like crossing water and sand and things as you're going. It is fairly difficult, but you're running sort of from the front end of it, which is where the sand is. I mean, basically, you can get there, but the question is, can a dire wolf jump up onto what is essentially like a ferry, or whether it would need to climb, or do you want to risk going where they've put a ramp out for the animals to pull the ship and run up there?
How much of a detour would that be going up the ramp?
With your speed, it would certainly be doable, but you'd be running to the other side of the ship instead of what is essentially the left side of the ship. You'd be going to the right side. But you would have enough movement speed to do it, because if you use your dash as well, I mean, that's 100 feet. You're only 60 feet away. More than enough to kind of go around a little bit.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. And of course, the people on the ferry freak right the heck out as a dire wolf bursts past their pack animals and roars up a ramp, and they now contemplate what in the world their day is going to be looking like, or their evening.
Trying to be subtle anymore, right?
Yeah, no, subtlety's gone. Subtlety
Yeah, I think when the screaming happened, that's when the subtlety was just gone.
Yeah,
But
like it's already weird, but this is really weird. But you all are both atop of the boat now, so that is good. And after that, let's see. Jacob will continue to run towards the boat. He doesn't have fancy stuff. He'll just take his time and get there when he can. Mark, with you, Lee, is kind of, hurrying forward. In fact, at this point, he's like, "Come on, this is so boring. They're doing stuff. I bet they're really doing stuff." But he does nothing. I'm assuming Lee, you continue to walk forward.
Somebody makes me aware that there's something going on, I could hand the reins of the horses to Mark and hop on my goat and start riding towards the action.
Yeah, you're not really aware.
Yeah, unless if Mark tells me, I'm not going to know.
And Mark doesn't know either. He's just perhaps anxious or bored.
Until I'm made aware, I'm not going to do that.
Mhm.
And I'm constantly wearing earplugs because when I'm going into fights now, I need to wear them to protect
I understand. Yeah, I'm all on board. I wasn't arguing. I got it. Same page. Speaking of pages,
the rest of the party, so they know why I'm doing it.
the crew, after the form of Mollymort and a giant wolf goes by, they begin to yell. Wolf, wolf, get the animals up on shore. Go, go. Where are the weapons? Where are the weapons? They're on board, sir. But they are freaking out, but they're not following you currently because they ain't that stupid. They're not going to chase a dire wolf unarmed. So, Shion, you hear a little bit of commotion outside. And of course, you're in a life or death fight here, so that's probably not a big deal. What would you like to do?
I cast blindness, deafness on Real.
Nice.
He has to make a con save of 17.
Deafness.
And I'm going for blinding.
Okay. Let me look at his stats. Your DC is 17?
Yes.
He rolled a 16.
So he is blinded.
He is blind.
Yeah. And, well, that was one action. Would it be a bonus action to initiate a grab for the bow? Or is that a full action?
That would usually be kind of a full action in an attempt to do so. Because if it were just an object laying on the ground, then yeah, no problem. But you would be kind of opposed.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but grapples and shoves in this modern in 5e, those replace attacks, don't they?
Yeah. And so I'm kind of thinking I'll allow you to attempt to grab this object from a blinded individual, but you'll sacrifice the time for your movement.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't sure what if it counted as a grapple was why I was asking.
Normally, in that sort of a situation, because it's being actively held, it's not, even if it were a pickpocket kind of deal, it would still be a check. It would still be an action usually,
Yeah,
because you've already used your full action. Because he's blinded, and if you're willing to use your bonus action and your movement, I'll allow it under this circumstance if you want. But that's up to you.
yeah, because I think it's at this point it's best to just get the bow and get away because he's not gonna give up. So.
But again, I'll perfectly be fine with allowing it if you want to try, and it still will be an opposed check against his strength.
Yeah. Yeah, I will. I will do so. I'm fine with giving up my bonus action and moving for it.
Okay. So you are, of course, wielding two weapons currently.
Yeah.
Do you let one go to get a free hand?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. All right. You let a weapon go as you attempt to grab at this thing. Go ahead and this is, what's your strength?
I have a flat. I don't have any
so
bonus.
This is just a flat roll from both of you. So just roll, see what you get.
Bill doesn't give him anything.
I can check, but I don't think.
I think it's only lifting and carrying. So, I figured I'd ask, but I didn't. I was pretty sure it didn't.
In this instance, I've already made a lot of accommodations. I'm not going to give you another advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, it just counts for carrying capacity.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking, well, he is like 8 feet tall.
Yeah, again, but it's, I'm already making some sacrifice and
Yeah.
giving some benefits already, but
I just brought it up. That's all.
mm-hmm.
Worth thinking about.
All right. What's your roll?
My roll is 18.
Okay. You're able to grab the bow and quickly snatch it from his hand.
And then, or no, I used my
Nope.
movement for that. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that for a second. That's my bad.
And then, though he is blind, he slashes out at you in an attempt to hit you.
At least I impose disadvantage on him, so he won't have advantage. At least.
Yeah. Every little bit. Oof. Okay, the first one's a 16. Doesn't hit, right?
Or 16 does hit.
Oh, fantastic.
Beats.
All right, that was a 13. So, one does hit, but one is realistically all he needed. You take 9 piercing damage, plus
I'm a little afraid.
13 poison damage. So 9 piercing, 13 poison, and then, because Zilra is within 5 feet, now you get the sneak attack. You take 17 more piercing damage from the sneak attack. I rolled 2 1s there.
Thank God.
As he just rages and slashes wildly. It's mine! It's mine! let's see here. That
This-
will do for his turn.
This would be a great time to just kind of look at him and be like, you could have been a hero, but you became this instead.
Yeah, that's actually pretty close to what I was gonna say. I was gonna say it's about more than what's yours. It's about the world.
You can see him shake his head in anger, and in his shaking his head, you can see the cloudiness of his eyes go away. His eyes meet yours, and they're mad as he gets his saving throw. And now, Zilra. As you make a pull at the bow, I mean, well, anyway, but you have grabbed it, and hang on, I'm double checking this particular spell. It's been a while since I've used that one. She raises her hand to you, palm first, and releases a spray of this slightly fluorescent green liquid, and some of it splashes towards you. Could you make a Constitution saving throw, please?
That's a 18? Yeah.
All right. With an 18. I'm sorry, my brain's not focusing. Where's the window? Wrong window. There we go. Yeah, you succeed. It coughs and it's a bit caustic and it's unpleasant, but you're able to shake off its effects. You imagine that it's going to be changing the flavor of your coffee for perhaps a day or two, though. It is really lingering and unpleasant. But could certainly be worse. And that being done, next up we have Ormus. You're on board. You hear commotion down below. You hear commotion at the bow.
I'm not concerned about the bow.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
going
you hear
to-
something about a wolf. You're pretty sure you know what that is.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Common sense can tell me. But yeah, I'll run forth and try and get as close as I can.
Yeah, you can, from where you are, it's not a difficult task. You can kind of quickly get down the stairs and even into the room.
Into the room.
Yeah.
Am I able to get around and see?
Well,
Or
I mean,
is it just...
it's a pretty small room. It's rather cramped. There's Fionn and Real and Zilra. And Real and Zilra seem to be not happy at Fionn. Fionn seems to have a bow that you imagine Real is. That's probably the source of Real not being happy.
Yeah, probably. Okay, at the same time I get in, I look, I scan, and be like, what happened? There wasn't supposed to be any fighting. Are you okay? And kind of try and sway and kind of persuade Zelra through, like, we're not here to fight. We're just here for the boat. But calm her down a little bit.
Okay. I'll allow a sort of
Postmortem.
persuasion check to try and diplomatically calm her down, maybe.
My situation's fairly good. 26.
26 is pretty good.
Plus 9. Sweet.
Okay. Yeah,
Good thing
she'll.
you didn't have me roll deception.
Well, it's just sort of to get an idea of how overall persuasive you are.
Yeah.
So that helps a little bit, and she'll of course respond. Then why is he taking the bow? Leave the bow then.
Because we need it to save the world. It's just like we need you, Zelra.
You're just using us.
No, we're not. If we were using you, we would have killed Rail down at your
Alright.
home.
Mollymort, what would you like to do?
I can run into the room too, right?
With your movement speed, yes, but I mean, this is a really small room. it's it's already pretty. You could get your head in there. Yeah, you can kind of get your snoot past, um, you know, Ormus a little bit. But I mean, realistically speaking, this is a tight room with two people in it. Now you have two humanoids, or rather three humanoids, and then a half giant esque large creature, and now a dire wolf. Like this thing is, you guys are cramming into this little phone booth here.
Can I reach real?
Unfortunately, no, because he is in the far corner. You would have to. I mean, you can squeeze by him potentially, yeah, but you'll be, you know, in the center, really tight in this sort of group. But yeah, potentially you can, but you'll be kind of nudging some people.
Alright, then I guess I'll just kind of poke my head in, look around, figure out where everybody is, and when I see Zilra, I'll kind of lower my head and put my ears back and look up at her apologetically.
All right. So if you imagine it like on a grid, imagine a 2 by 2 square with one more square in the bottom left corner going down. And so Ormus is in the top left, or rather, Ormus is in the, or rather, Fion is in the top left, Real is in the top right, Zilra is in the bottom right, Ormus is in the bottom left, and now you're in that sort of tail in the bottom left area. Like it's pretty compact. Um, and a lot of you are sharing spaces. Just in terms of where everyone is, it's that sort of a, crossfire kind of situation.
Yeah, I'm probably half pushed up against Ormus's leg.
Oh yeah. Well, that her is like upper hip. You're a dire wolf.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, you're just sort of peeking in a bit. But yeah, you can certainly do that, no problem.
Okay, that works.
Okay. Jacob will, um, looking around for a way to climb up, will actually, yeah, he'll just start climbing up. That's fine. Lee, you just continuing to walk forward. Nothing really has stood out. Continuing along your march, I guess.
Yeah. How many rounds has it been?
Let's call that 3.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, that's 3.
Mm-hmm.
This pace, I should be about 7 rounds away. See you then.
Yep. Let's see. Next up, we've got Fion.
I will I mean, with the grid formation, is there any way I could squeeze past, try and get away?
Well, you would be going through and over top 2 allies. It's not inconceivable.
I would let you push past me, for sure.
And I'd let him push too.
Yeah.
Cover your
But-
escape.
You would, of course, be open to opportunity attacks.
Yes, which...
Engage.
I'm sorry, what was that, Lee?
You could disengage and then use your movement to get out of the room past your allies.
You could.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to find the right words for. Yeah, sorry, my brain is scattered today. Yeah, disengage and kind of try to move past. And while I'm moving past, I'm gonna say I'm sorry. I don't mean to hurt your pride. I don't want to hurt anyone. I'm really sorry, Zora. We're not using you. We just
Real is screaming at you and calling you a coward as you leave the room.
that's perfectly fine. He can think what he wants to. And
All right.
yeah, that's just it. I'm just gonna get out of the room.
At least for proving to Zilra that we're not here to kill them like Real claimed.
Yeah, like admittedly, I probably jumped the gun a little bit with the kicking the door in, but I was just trying to go for like scare factor, you know? Like, hey, we mean business. Don't steal the shit that we need to save the world. You know?
I mean, I still hold my stance that he would have forced your hand into a fight either way. So
Probably. Yeah.
preemptively.
The only thing he cares
This
about
is what I was hoping to be able to sneak in, grab the bow, sneak out, and then.
Armus, what's your AC?
My AC, I think it's 17. Check. Yes, 17.
Okay, so he crits once and hits once. Attempting to move through anything in his way to follow the bow.
What kind of armor are you wearing, Ormus?
I think half plate.
Okay. Just wanted to like this. It never comes up, so like we never ever talk about what Ormus is wearing, what he looks like, anything like that. So it's good to know that you're wearing half plate.
This is a lot of dice, so I'm just gonna roll it in the dice roller.
So what?
But the amount of damage, I'm gonna use the dice roller in Discord just because it's more dice than I care to roll.
Jeez.
Let's see. Where? Okay.
Oh my god.
Hang on.
I see the 15d6 and that's it.
Let me add the other stuff. Yeah, 15d6. Most of those were 2s and 3s. That is a lot of 3s.
Oh
That could have been a lot worse. Granted, there are no 1s.
god.
How many hit points you got, Armus? Just curious.
89.
Oof.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this won't kill you, but there's a very good chance that you're probably going to be unconscious. Let's see, because it's 54 from that, and on top of that, do you have any resistances to poison or piercing?
I can look.
I'm just curious.
I don't think so.
If you do, it would be potentially helpful right now. Just throwing it out there.
I'm looking. I don't think so.
Is there any chance I could, as a reaction, try to block some of this hit from him?
No. He's standing in front of you. You're just a little bit in the way. But the good thing is you're keeping Real from continuing to follow, so you'll be the next target. So there's that. Plus, I mean, it's the poison that really does most of the work here. Okay, that is, if I've done my numbers correctly, which I'm pretty sure I have. How many hit points do you have again? Just want to be sure.
89.
Okay,
I have
good.
35 left.
Well, no, you don't. That was just the roll. That wasn't adding the other damage in. You take in total from both attacks, keeping in mind one was a crit, 116 damage.
What the?
It's the poison that really adds up. He took a crit and the sneak attack damage. It's a lot. It's burst damage from a drow. It's a huge amount of damage. That's like the most damage he can do in a turn.
Yeah.
Lee could do more.
And I took it.
Yes, you did. You are like
I'm still
instantly.
looking. I don't think.
The world goes dark.
As I'm trying to be like, settle down, just.
Yeah, you're like, settle down, and it's just 1/2/, and you're just collapsed. And Molly Moore, you can feel the wet corpse or not corpse, but the unconscious bits of Ormus just tumbling beside you. But yeah, Real does that, and he's just still screaming, "Come back, you coward!"
Oh my god!
see.
Oh my god! This bitch.
This
Yeah,
is what
he's
he
strong.
does. This
He's strong,
is single target killing is what he does.
Mhm.
But let's see here. Next up is Zilra. Hmm.
Who sees me trying to come and calm everybody down and him just strike at me?
Yeah.
I hope that helps. Ow!
Zilra has been at least somewhat swayed. I mean, she kind of liked you guys. Yeah, I think on this one, Zilra will be calling out, Real, that's uncalled for! We can talk with them! They're our friends! But she does not do anything of importance, at least. Let's see, next up is Ormus. Can I get a death saving throw?
Yeah. Oh, thank God. 16.
16. Nothing wrong with that. 16's good.
I passed one. Yay.
Molly Mort. Real is
I'm gonna-
now looking at you, Molly Mort. I'll add, like you're the thing in his way now.
Fionn, you best get as far away as possible.
You're a large creature. You can pick up Ormus and move him if you need to.
Can you heal while in beast form?
I cannot do any magical in beast shape,
Yeah.
which is why I will bristle as I look to Real. Then my gaze will shift to Zilra, and it'll just look sad. Then I'll turn my back to both of them to kind of block away Ormus, and I'll change into a gnome, and I'm going to cast Cure Wounds.
Okay. That is a strong play. All right, cast Cure Wounds. Go for it.
And I'm casting it at 4th level.
Holy
Okay.
crap.
Roll some healing.
$13 hit dice is all.
13 hit points is certainly better than what he had before.
Substantial better. Thank you. I'm sorry, guys.
It's all right. Let's see. What would you like to do? Anything else, Molly Mort?
No, I'm just gonna be kind of crouching over Ormus.
With your back sort of to Real between you and Ormus. Between him and Ormus, yeah.
And I'm not moving out of his way, though.
Gotcha. Understood. Let's see. Next up, we have that being done. Jacob comes around at the top of the stairs and sees you, Fionn, and sees the bow, and smiles, and he says, "Job well done."
Also, I should say that I'm probably in a pretty rough state because, yeah, I'm pretty low on hit points, so I'm probably bleeding pretty hard and like holding my ribs.
In that case, he'll probably be like, "Is it done? Job done?"
He's pissed. He's coming after us.
He nods and moves past you and gets into a defensive stance. Mark walking along with Lee, just starts asking Lee, like, "So, I mean, do you have a favorite candy?
Yeah, this
Do
guy.
you have a favorite candy?
Oh yeah, I'll pull out an earplug and I'll say, "Candy?
Do you have a favorite candy?
Yeah, this kind." Then I'll pull out one and give it to him.
What kind is it?"
those little hard round candies that he carries around, the little ball shaped ones.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like little fruit flavored ball candies, hard
Okay.
ball candies.
How big are they? Like, what size are they?
They're smaller than a marble, but you probably wouldn't want to give them to like a 3-year-old. They might choke on them.
Understood. Are they like coated but sugar in a sense, like
They're
akin
not
to like
exactly.
gobstoppers, or are they like a solid uh sugar-based candy, like you know, they're all the way through consistent one color? And
Yeah, they're homogeneous.
huh?
They're homogeneous. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I have a picture of.
He, noms the piece of candy as you walk along. All right. Next up, we have Fion.
With with why do I always forget which one is Mark and which one is Jacob?
Mark is the big bearded sorcerer guy. Jacob is the monk dragonborn
Jacob's
that
the one we killed.
disguises himself. Yes, he's the one you murdered in cold blood. But he's
Yeah,
cool about it.
the one that just walked past me. Having him walk past me, I'll put my sword away, and I will draw the bow and write it with my bonus action.
All right. You prepare, presumably for someone to come into the hallway for Rio to follow.
Yeah. I'm
I'm
aiming
assuming.
back down the hallway, having gotten a little distance towards where I know Real is going to be chasing.
Are you going to be like readying an action? Like as soon as he appears, you want to shoot at him, or?
Well, I don't want to shoot at him right away. I want to say something to him, but
Okay. Well, I'm just questioning mechanically. Like, do you want to actually be able to interject to make an attack, or do you want to just wait till your next turn?
oh yeah, I want to be able to interject and make an attack.
Okay.
But still, the intimidation factor of having it already drawn at him, I think, will have a powerful effect, even if you don't, shoot on him as soon as you see him.
Well, we'll see. Real looking down at the, and I say this with all the love in the world, this pitiful gnome in his way. And it's his words, not mine.
It's fine.
Yeah, he just yells, "You're fools!" And he draws his blade back in an attempt to, you know, yeah. And you're basically back turned, about as helpless as you could be.
There's a reason they call it backstab
A little bit.
in games.
I'm guessing an 18 is going to hit.
Just barely.
Okay. It hits a hit, whether it's barely or not.
Yeah, it hits.
9 piercing damage.
Okay.
And 13 poison damage.
But Drew the poison thing.
Are you immune to poison?
I believe I am. Let me double check that, but I believe I am.
Okay. You can double check that. But as he basically quickly stabs into the gnome and is reaching, drawing back his sword to attempt to strike in again, Zora, who had an action prepared to attack anyone who showed aggression, says, "Real, stop it!" And she blasts multiple points of energy that go out and just smack into Real like a shotgun.
Yeah, I am immune to poison and disease as
Great.
of level 10.
You take 9 piercing damage then. While Real takes
Didn't get a sneak attack on that?
some damage. You don't know how much. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Lee?
Said he didn't get a sneak attack on that. He stabbed her in the back.
He didn't
He
have an
didn't have-
ally within 5 feet necessarily.
Woo!
Well, in this particular one, like I didn't while it could be, yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, he definitely had a decent advantage. He had her back turned and everything. In that case,
Have to. He might have felt bad.
no, you're right, Lee. I'll make sure to give her the extra 5d6 damage. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 2 ones again. 10. You take 16 extra piercing damage. And Lee, you can have inspiration for that. Thank you.
I'm gonna give it to Molly because I don't want to. I'm not gonna take that for my friends, getting hurt about that.
I mean, you're right. I should have done it. I didn't think of it that way.
She's the one taking the damage. She deserves it. So
I shouldn't pull my punches. You're right. But Zilra did blast some magic missiles at Real. And at this one, Real will yell, "You traitorous fool!" and will attempt to strike at her and hit. And now he rolls the damage to hit her, and that is a number. And that is...
At least he won't get sneak attack, because now he's got no allies.
I know. Plus, he wouldn't be able to get it anyway because he already used it on Mollymort.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I know. Mollymort taking yet another one for the team. Zilra immediately looks to be very worse for wear. She not falling down, but injured heavily. She is not a warrior. Let's put it that way. Let's see. That being done, next up we got Zilra, her turn, because that was her last turn that she jumped in on. And Real is face to face with her. She is not happy with him.
How's Real looking, by the way?
Real looks great. I mean, he's fantastic. You were able to look up at him from the floor where you nearly died, and he looks majestic. I mean, yeah. I mean,
okay.
yeah.
Just gauging the room.
Zilra will activate. She'll see, shimmering blue field around her as she attempts to protect herself. But she doesn't really have anywhere to go. She's not going to go through Real to go towards you all because she doesn't really trust either of you at this point. Let's see. Next up, then, will be Ormus. You are prone. Mollymort is in
half my
pain
movement speed
above you. Yep. You want to stand up?
Yep.
Cool.
And I'm going to bonus action curse him and tell him to sit the fuck down as I swing.
Okay. Attempt to hit.
Come on. Stop rolling. 19 plus 10, 29, 8.
29 does hit.
And a 19 is a crit.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Ouch.
Once per rest, the bonus action, you can curse a creature for 1 minute. Healing level plus charisma mod HP when it dies. Critting on a 19 and dealing proficiency bonus damage. Extra.
Nice.
Yeah.
Warlocks continue to be broken. Go ahead and roll some damage.
And if I remember correctly, I still have Divine Smite, right?
Yes, you do.
I'm gonna go ahead and cast that.
Kind of
I
smite,
think-
Divine Smite?
Well,
Divine
hang on.
Smite.
Are you able to... Lee, you would know this better. Can you cast the spell and attack and smite at the same time?
Does
Or
it have
remember,
a-
the spell is a bonus. Or is a bonus action, right?
Starting
is
at
it
second
talking
level,
about-
when you hit
Wait. Are you guys talking about Wrathful Smite or Divine Smite?
Divine Smite.
Divine.
Divine Smite specifically, if you hit with a melee attack, you get the extra. You can get extra damage.
Alright, there you go. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so that's 5d8 because I have to cast at max level. And sweet. Okay, cool. 7.
Why is Divine Smite?
plus 8. Well, what?
What'd you say, Lee?
I said I am so confused of why you have Divine Smite.
He
Don't
is
worry,
a-
Ormus will be too.
Yeah.
Another 7. 5.
Out of character, Ormus is a paladin of Asmodeus.
I
God,
was hoping to reveal that. Okay, so I gotta add this up real quick. So 8 plus 7, 7, 5, 6, 8. That. Actually, see if I can get these this 5 flipped around. As Savage Attacker, you can reroll melee weapon damage 1 per turn. Does that mean I get to like reroll all those hits or just one?
Do we have any other
That
savage
will-
attackers that are familiar with the language? I would assume it's once.
I would too, but I'm leaving it up for your discretion. I got a 5 and a 6 here I can try and fix.
Your attacks are always the most complicated damn things.
I'm sorry. This is how I'm able to do my damage. That's the problem. Like I get 1 attack per turn. I get 2 spells, and then Eldritch Blast.
Okay. Let's see. I can't. Once per turn, when you roll damage with melee attack, you can reroll the weapon's damage dice and use either total. Yeah, I mean you can reroll all of them. It's just damage dice. Yeah.
Oh my god. That's another 7. I'll change that 5. Add 2 to that total. That's a 2. That's a 1. Another 7.
No, it's only the damage dice. It's only
Yeah.
from the weapon. None of the other stuff.
Not the Divine Smite.
Yeah. It's only
Okay,
the
so-
weapons attack.
Boop. Get rid of that one. Okay, so. Okay.
Yeah, you don't get not all of them. Just
That's
the
why I was
weapon.
asking. That's what I was asking.
Okay.
So that times 2 plus magic damage, charisma, 10 plus proficiency because he's cursed.
I've
Is-
combined Warlock and Paladin. What the hell was I thinking?
That's 100.
I've done this to myself. 100?
Yup.
100 damage?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like I said, this
That
is
was
gonna-
also because that was mainly because he was cursed. That was a 19. And
Yeah,
then
the
I get my
crit.
proficiency bonus.
Yeah, I don't
Plus
know
4.
why I would give extra crit damage on some. Anyway, so you draw out your blade, which already burns with the hellfire. The room engulfs, or rather, lights up a little bit, and you just bring it down in this terrible smite. The blade erupts in flame as you bring it down. But even as it cuts across him, it doesn't burn. It leaves. It's almost like his skin retreats away from the slash, and you can see it drawing out of him like you're sucking his soul out of him.
Oh, no.
And as you slash through him, and he lands on the ground, he falls a husk of his former form.
Wait, is he
I'm
dead?
just
Oh, he's super dead.
dead, like not unconscious.
You ate his soul. He's gone. He's super gone.
Oh no!
Well, geez, you deprived me of the cool thing that I wanted to do.
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna kind of stand there and just in awe and shock to what I just cast. Because I've
Molly is in shock and horror as well.
Zilra just starts screaming. She watches him fall. She just screams.
and I'm looking at her and I'm so sorry. I'm so apologetic. Like I didn't know that was gonna happen. I'm so sorry.
Is it over?
Yeah, you're out of combat.
I'm sorry.
Technically, yeah, the NPC's upstairs, but they're, slowly creeping on board, but they're not probably going to be a problem.
I'm gonna kind of urge Ormus to leave the room.
I'm half frozen in fear, but I can try.
As in, like, I'm kind of gently pushing you out of the room.
Yep, that's okay. Okay, that's fine. On the bright side, I mean, Zelra's a necromancer, so she can bring him back.
Wait, can she? I mean, you ate his soul?
I don't know that. I know that, but I don't know that.
You don't know that. You don't know that. It was just a comment. I mean, you could see that his body just like shriveled. He is super dead. He is not unconscious. He is dead.
Did not mean to do that.
Well, that's
Okay.
a shame, isn't it?
Yeah. I was just trying to get him to calm down.
But
That's one way to do it.
you
I guess.
can, Fionn, from
Oh, God.
your sort of perspective, you've got the bow drawn. You hear comments. You hear a scream, and you see the glowing blade produced first, soon followed by a dark figure that you recognize as Ormus, but he's got an aura around him.
I'm shaken.
I mean, his spirit does not look the same Ormus that you saw a moment ago. Anyway,
I'm gonna stay in the same room as Zilra and try to calm her down just a little bit and apologize profusely and I'm gonna stay too.
she definitely seems to be in a bit of shock.
I mean, yeah, it was an accident. Oh.
She definitely seems to be in a bit of shock, and she kneels beside Fionn, or rather beside Real, and is like she's drooling, slobbering, crying, screaming, clinging on to him.
I'm gonna try and get down and comfort her.
You're gonna comfort her? You're outside of
I'm
the
gonna-
room, man.
Shit. I mean, well, thinking about going back, and if somebody needs to comfort her, I'm gonna tell Molly.
Mollymort is actively comforting her.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I got it. It's
Okay.
You've done enough here, Ormus.
I am shaking.
didn't murder anybody. I was just protecting you. I didn't hurt anybody. Just let me take care of this.
You got it. I give it to you. Yep. I'm just gonna walk out, and both me, myself, and Oramus are shaking. Like, oh my god.
Zilra is herself also shaking, and she's, clinging on to him.
I will, in kind of panic mode, I will try to cure him just in case.
What would you like to use?
I mean,
Yes, spare the die.
What would you like to use?
I'm gonna try to use cure wounds.
Okay. Yeah, there's no amount of curing wounds. I mean, you can, even a peripheral medicine check, you can determine that while curing wounds can work well on a living creature, it doesn't do much on this.
I'm gonna look from her to the corpse, her to the corpse. I can fix this. Just give me a day, please. I can fix this.
She's just seemingly in shock. She does not answer.
Seeing Ormus walk out of the room after that flash, I think Fionn will, put weapons away and walk up, put a hand on Ormus's shoulder, and look in the room to see what's going on. And
You
seeing,
can see the boots of Real coming around from the middle of the room, and you can hear crying.
And yeah, I'll at this point I'll actually put my whole arm around Ormus's shoulders, and I'll call out to Molly. Hey Molly, do you got it under control in there?
I don't know.
Well, I'll be back. We're gonna go get Lee, and I'll just kind of
Yeah, how close is Lee? It's been like 5 rounds, right?
Yeah, at this particular moment, you can see. You probably saw. In fact, you definitely saw the burst of fiery, evil light that is just so spicy to your senses that came through the. Hang on, through the window of the room that they were in, and so you know exactly where they are, right there.
All right.
You say
And it is
evil, I say entrepreneur.
It is incredibly evil.
You say evil, I just say entrepreneur.
Would I hand off the reins and start riding towards them then, or
It's your character, man. What do you want to do?
if I'm aware enough, I would hand off the reins to Mark, climb
Sure.
on my goat, and start riding towards, dashing.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, you can be there.
It'd still be about 150 feet away, so I think it'd be like, take like 12 seconds or something.
And that's fine. We're not in turn order. So I assume it's been like close to a minute now since he's died. Everyone's just freaking out and in shock a little bit. And you can see the crew of the ship. They seem to have retreated off the boat a bit.
Yeah, just clank, 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 clank. What happened? Did you get the bow?
He's dead. It's all my fault, he's dead.
yeah, Fionn has his arm around Ormus's shoulder, and he's like, "Yeah, we got it, but we all need to have a big talk, Ormus, whether you like it or not, about some things." Lee, I think it would be best if you went in there and talked to Molly and Zilra. I'm pretty sure you can handle this better than I can, and Leon will sit Ormus down and have Jacob, say to Jacob, "Hey, will you watch him for a second?" and walk over to start to talk to the crew members.
I'll climb off and I'll run in where Molly and Zilver are.
I will put my so gently, put my hand on Zilra's arm, tried to meet her eyes, and said to her in a very shaky voice, "I think I can fix him, but he won't be the same."
She's just starting to kind of catch her breath, and she's practically catatonic. She doesn't seem to react at all. She's just staring down at him with glassy eyes.
It's like this wasn't supposed to be how it went. This wasn't what was supposed to happen.
No, it wasn't. Lee, can you help me with Rio and bring him out? Bring him outside, Zilra. Can you stand up? Are you gonna be okay? Do you need healing? What can I do to help?
You can see her. You can see that she's bleeding from the wound that Rio gave her, but she continues to be unresponsive.
We don't necessarily. I don't think that right this very second is the time to bring him outside. I think first and foremost, healing Zilra would be our priority.
Would Real have gotten invasion? I know it's too late, but or
Evasion doesn't really do a whole lot in that sense.
I know that Rose they get something where a melee attack they can see from the their enemy they can basically take a reaction half.
Yeah, but that's not evasion.
That's any dodge.
Oh, yep, okay. Shit.
If Molly isn't able to do it, I will very gently crouch down and reach over and try to touch Zora's shoulder. See how she reacts to it,
She doesn't.
and I will cast, use lay on hands and try to heal her wounds.
You can feel it go in, and you can sense that she's been healed. How much do you use?
25.
Okay. You sense that she has been fully restored, but she doesn't seem to react other than that.
I'm gonna slowly and gently pull her into hug.
It's like she's not there. She's just a form. She seems to be fully catatonic. You pull her around, she just doesn't respond.
Lee, can you get real out of here?
Yeah, I'll take Real outside. I'll pick him up very gently.
She screams no as soon as you touch him, and throws her body over his.
I'll let him go. I'll try to kind of get her up after a moment.
She starts to fight you off, and she says, "You all did this. You're all the same. You're just using us. You're using him. You're using me."
I can reincarnate him. I can't. He won't be a drow anymore, but he'll be alive. We didn't want him to die.
Didn't ever want to kill him. He wasn't supposed. This wasn't supposed to happen.
She just starts crying, just laying on top of him and crying.
I'm gonna sit down again. Lee, I'm going to stay here. I'm gonna stay here a while, and in a while, I'm gonna do what I can.
All right. Lee's just kind of going to go outside the door and sit down because he doesn't really know what to do.
I'm gonna start kind of preparing for a long rest if I can.
Okay. Meanwhile, let's see. Fionn, did you said you were going to go talk to the crew?
Yeah.
They're, you can see them. They had, lanterns essentially as they were preparing to pull the barge, but they have moved further into the woods, and they seem to be cowering and hiding behind trees. And they're pack animals with ropes that are still hanging.
Does there seem to be anyone that appears to be in charge?
They don't seem to be. I mean, you can't really tell who's in charge of the people hiding behind the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'll one hand up because the other one's still clutching my ribs. Say, hey, we just want to talk. I can explain the situation. I just need to know who to talk to. There's no reason to cower anymore.
You hear a voice. You're not really sure exactly which one it is, but you hear a voice from deeper in. Who the hell are you people?
I guess.
What was that, Lee?
Guess we're chasing a thief.
Yeah.
We're Tempest.
Tempest.
It is the Tempest.
Blue Tempest, yeah.
Blue Tempest.
Blue.
Okay, yeah. Perhaps you have heard of us. We have been referred to as the Blue Tempest. We helped save Bakata, if you have heard of that.
And what are you doing putting a wolf on my barge? You pirates?
No, we're not pirates. I can't stress that enough. We did not intend to scare you or your crew at all. We meant for this to be very quiet, but see, there was a thief on board. I guess he probably would have told you he was a foreign dignitary of some sort or something. Real, the dark elf fellow.
Aye.
He had stolen an artifact and was trying to get away with it, and we had to retrieve it.
Your law, then?
Something like that.
We have I'm trying to think of the way to word this.
Definitely have a connection because you yourself work in a type of enforcer, and Lee's a guard.
Yeah, we have with us a guard of Bakata, and we were sent with writs from the Queen, and at this point he'll pull out the transport writ from his bag.
I know Vakata. It's a long, long arm. Well, you done?
Just about, I would think. I need to speak to my team, but we should
You
be
can
out of your
see-
hair soon.
You can see a fellow coming out from the tree line. Red shirt, brown pants. Bit of a bushy hat, unshaven. I guess you could, if you were to describe it, be a character in bad posture. Older, maybe in his 60s. This is presumably the fellow you're talking with, probably the captain.
I offer my hand out for a handshake to him.
He doesn't shake it.
Understood. I'm so sorry that we had to inconvenience you and we scared you. The wolf, by the way, was not a wolf per se. We have a member.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, our wolf is a gnome. We have a member with us who uses kind of nature magic and such. Again, I'm very sorry for the fear that we inspired accidentally.
Honestly, it'd probably be easier for them to understand if you just said it was trained.
Is there a reward?
A reward?
Bounty for the thief?
I mean, not so much as in, retrieving this artifact. Very important.
Very important means very valuable. Share that. Certainly make up for our troubles.
Let me look at my character sheet and see how much gold I have on me.
Okay.
Where would it be? In equipment? No, it wouldn't be in equipment, would it?
Potentially. Some of these animals nearly died of fright. Not to mention, this definitely is slowing us down. And you're taking my passenger. Taking both of them or just one?
I mean, that depends. Probably both, but
I imagine they're not together.
yeah. How much did we pay for passage the first time through? It was like one or two gold a piece up the river, right?
Yeah.
So I have 11 gold on me.
You can see 3 crew. You suspect if you gave them a gold each. Or maybe 2 gold for the captain and a gold each for the crew. That they would be plenty happy.
And you said there's 3 crews, so that would total me 5.
If you're to give 2 to the captain and 1 to each crew.
Yeah.
Captain and 3 crew. So
I'll do that, and again apologize for the inconvenience.
And you suspect also too that they were almost certainly paid in advance as well.
Oh
So-
yeah.
Like this is double payment at least. So they're probably pretty, decently happy. They're nodding.
What were you gonna say, Lee?
I just wanted to know that whenever I get the chance, I kind of wanted to make a religion check on Real's body.
Sure, go ahead and make a religion check.
Because while he's rolling that, after that, I would just walk back to the party.
Okay.
23?
With a 23, you're able to recognize very quickly the telltale signs of death by necrotic damage. That it was probably a very quick but painful way of going. This, of course, being the sort of counter, the opposite to your radiant power.
I think Lee knows the answer already, but he's going to ask just kind of quietly. Who did this?
I suspect Oramus is silent a moment in guilt.
I thought Ormus was outside. I'm inside with
Yeah, I left.
If you're asking Mollymort, okay.
Yeah, I'm just right outside the door, kind of with the door open. Molly's with Zilra, and I'm just kind of sitting down outside, and I could just ask, who did this?
I look up at Lee, then look down, looking ashamed, and whisper Ormus.
He would just kind of turn his head and be silent, kind of contemplative.
So overall, what would you all like to do? You want to take a long rest? Do you want to attempt to move Real and Zilra? Do you want to just leave? What do you want to do?
I will tell Lee that I don't have what I need to reincarnate him.
Okay. What do you need?
Oil and a lot of it, remember?
Did you already use it? Because if you recall, you got a lot of it. You might not have it on you, I guess, but you
Yeah,
did get.
it was like big jugs, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a big jug. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could take him back to Hope in the morning using Jacob's teleportation.
Zilra, will you let us take him so that way I can reincarnate him?
And she wipes some of the tears, and she says, "Can you? I don't know. This might even be beyond my magics. I'm not good with when I bring people back. They're not the same. Will he be? You said different, but will he be him?"
He won't be a drow, but he will be him.
You can see she's thoughtful for a moment. And she says, "I'm not sure he would even want that."
Then it's your decision at this point.
We can bury him or bring him back to his homeland or whatever you think you want. I think you would know him best.
She shakes her head and she says that if you take him back, he's been exiled. They'll just feed him to the dogs. He won't get any respect there.
Then we bury him?
She just seems thoughtful and she just shakes her head and shrugs. And she says, "I don't even know. Is there nothing more that can be done? You have so much power. You have so much power."
We can bring him to Bahamut. I'm not there though.
Yeah. We'll try everything we can before. We'll try whatever we can. I think for now we should take him back to Hope.
I will, of course, add that not but a few days before, you had, of course, seen Bahamut bring multiple people. Well, okay. You saw him bring people back to life. You know that this is a power that he can do. Well, he brought one person back to life.
I thought he brought 2 people back to life.
He did. He brought 2. He brought the 2 guards that I killed.
Produce then.
Well, the 2 guards were killed. If I recall, he only brought one of them back to life.
Oh, I didn't realize.
The other one,
No, I thought it was only. I thought it was both.
maybe. I forget how I did it. I remember I wrote it one of either ways. I wasn't sure if the character would choose to remain dead. But anyway, you know that he can bring people back to life.
I definitely remember the. What's all this then?
Yeah. What's all this? That was too good. I had to have that happen. But I wasn't sure if the other one would choose to remain dead and stay with, in the afterlife. But anyway, I'll have to watch the video again. Either way, you know that Bahamut can bring people back to life.
Zilra, I can't bring him back as a drow. I can bring him back as something else. I don't know what, but we do know somebody who can bring people back.
She nods.
We'll try.
Now, since it's basically been the same day since Jacob arrived, that he'll need a long rest. So basically, you'll have to take a long rest. Do you want to take it on the ship here, or do you want to leave so that the barge can continue on its way?
Not a camp. I think at least Lee would be thinking you would return to the camp.
Yeah.
Gillen is, yeah. One for return.
Zilra can't carry Real. She's just not strong enough.
Lee will help. Lee will carry Real.
Considering, the sort of demeanor that Lee has had and how friendly he's been relatively, in that he wasn't involved in the fight, Zilra will begrudgingly not stop you from carrying Real. You imagine she's not happy about it, but it's the least worst option in her mind right now.
Lee will gently pick Real up and, carry him in both arms.
Sorry, I was just imagining Lee just picking him up like gingerly and then just tossing him over his shoulder.
Yeah, walking out like a sack of flour.
I think Lee would carry him,
A little whistle.
with reverence, like, in a funeral, right?
Of course.
Possibly, I kind of like to wrap him up in one of the bed sheets first because I don't think.
Oh, that's a beautiful touch. Yes,
Yeah.
I insist.
I think Lee would do that first.
Too.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, you wrap him up and are able to carry him away.
A bedroll is a good idea. I don't think wrapping him in one of my dresses would be the most respectful thing.
No, but there are decent plain cloth sheets, clean and simple, that are on the bed right there, and you can wrap him in those sheets.
That's what
Good news is he's quite a bit smaller than he used to be. So
yeah, I'd wrap him up and gently, pick him up and carry him out. I think out of respect, I think Lee would even say, kind of a prayer for the dead.
Me being, not in their world, do any religions, especially any that Molly would know about, have the tradition that us, in this world have, where we put coins over their eyes?
I suspect that amongst many cultures, that is certainly a thing. Because in this reality, of course, there are afterlives that do that. I suspect that putting coins on the eyes, hmm, in terms of the gnomish culture, it's certainly possible that that would be something that kind of continues. That seems like something that would be fair for dwarvish and gnomish, but it wouldn't do well with elvish. Like elvish culture would be like getting coins, gold. What is this? Get him away from the body. But for a gnomish culture, I think that it's not unreasonable that it's something that at least at some point has been mentioned in a tradition.
All right, yeah, then I'm gonna place a couple silver coins over his eyes.
Well, that's mostly for burial. Remember, we're not burying him yet.
Yeah, that's true. I guess if we're trying to get him revived, I should do that.
Yeah, that's something that you do when you're actually putting them in the ground.
That's true. Okay, yeah, let's not do that.
Okay.
We'll give him a little bit of a warrior's prayer. Specifically.
All right. You get him all wrapped up, and you can begin to carry him out. Ormus, are you with us?
What's up?
So, Lee, Mollymort, and Zilra, I'm assuming you all are departing and going back to the camp?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Alright, Ormus, where are you in this sort of a situation?
Wherever Theon put me.
Alright.
Somewhere outside of the barge.
Probably just kind of on the shore, overlooking everything is... I'm assuming, Lee, you don't just jump off the side of the boat, you probably use the ramp that they already put out.
Yeah, I mean, this would be kind of a slow, careful walk. Lee is a big dude in armor. He's not terribly big, but he's like a big, muscular, fumbling dude. But I think you'd probably be surprised by the ginger, gentleness he would give to somebody who died.
You also, of course, have 2 horses and a goat. Because to get back, you're gonna have to like cross little sections of river. I'm not sure if you want to be carrying him through that, or if you wanted to put him on a mount that can more easily kind of walk through the shallow areas of the water.
I can do that. Yeah, I'll put him on the goat.
Okay. Ormus as Zilra walks past, like you can
I don't
practically
even make eye contact. I'm so ashamed. I look away and down, and I am.
Even as you look away and down, you can feel the heat of her gaze, and it is stifling.
Intense.
Yeah.
She can hang me forever.
You never know.
As we're walking back, I think
I'm gonna do everything to make it up to her. I am. Ooh.
Yeah, I think Fionn is, walking alongside Ormus, and he's telling him some things. Mainly being, so, we just talked about this, and, now this is going to open up, whether you like it or not. You're going to have to tell us a lot, so you know.
If you're talking about what just happened, I don't even know what happened.
Even if you don't know, we need to know everything that we can.
Literally everything.
Like I told you, just ask me what you want to know, and I'm an open book. I'll tell you what I can and what I know. But as far as what just happened, I don't. I've never done that before. I don't know.
I understand. I'm just letting you know. Lee saw that firsthand. I imagine necrotic energy was reeking in there. There's just letting you know. There's going to be a conversation.
Yes. I understand.
What was that, Molly?
We're all together. I thought we were separate, or at least I don't know.
Well, you all kind of they were Theon and Ormus had gone out to the front of the ship and to talk to the crew. That's also where the ramp was. And presumably, Lee, when you and Mollymore and Silver came out, you wanted to take the easy way off the ship and went down the ramp, which was by them, and then you all could just start walking kind of together, back to camp.
Or did you two want to have this as a private conversation?
We can probably, we'll come back to that, unless there's anything especially pressing to talk about on the way. We will put a pin in that storyline currently. So, Aladrin, if you're with us. Well, anyone want to talk about anything? While I wait for Aladrin to come back. Is there any other discussion that wants to be made? Ah, there we go.
Yeah, I didn't realize my mic was muted.
Perfectly fine.
Been there.
So you have had yourself a long rest, and I'll add that at various points of the night, they're got a little chilly. Wind's going a little bit. Adira's getting a little close, but whatever. Anyway, you humored her before, so she continues her somewhat aggressive campaign. But you have had yourself a long rest in this seemingly long abandoned / destroyed ancient human city, someplace hundreds of miles away from what you would be able to basically call civilization. What would you like to do?
I'll wait until she gets up and then keep walking because this place gives me the creeps.
Okay. Eventually, she does awake, and she's able to make you a fine breakfast of good berries. And you can start heading out, continuing southeast, presumably.
Yes, because that was the way towards Terenia, I believe.
Something along those lines, yeah. And she's also, of course, trying to take you to a point that you'll be able to survive on your own. That's sort of the goal. Is right now, she's almost certain that you will die of dehydration or starvation or any of a number of ways. So many different ways to die.
There's a lot.
Indeed.
Like we turn to stone again.
It's always possible. She says that if we head east from here, that we can probably reach the river in a couple days, and then the River White is even further from there, but that would be able to get you to the sea. You might be able to follow the sea if you want to go that way. She's just trying to think about different options of basically. Okay, well, what's your passive insight, Aladrin?
Probably not very high.
Okay. Do you think Aladrin is good at understanding the opposite sex?
If he is, it's not gonna. If he is, it's not very good with a flat 10 insight.
That's fair. But yeah, she starts offering out different options. Like we could go here, and then you can go the rest of your way within a couple of days. But if we want to go further, we can go much further to civilization. But it's a much further trek. It's kind of more southeast. We got a couple ways to go, or we can go directly south. That'll get you to the sea. If you want to go there, I know you said that you're quite good with the sea. You might be fine there. That would be the fastest route. We could get you to the water, and then you could swim home.
Swim home. Oh.
What, Mollymort?
Just she's like, yeah, you could swim home. She doesn't know about his like.
She does. He told her about how he could breathe underwater and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Just that sentence amuses me.
I know it is an amusing sentence. While it might not be apparent to Aladrin, she's basically giving him the option, like, hey, do you want to go the fastest way to get rid of me, or do you want to stay together longer? Like, it's a kind of, it's a game, it's a play, but Aladrin is probably entirely oblivious to the fact that she's, this is a kind of strange attempt.
Flirting.
Yeah, in a sense, like it's not mature by any regard, but she's trying it.
See, I'm surprised by that because I figured Aladrin probably played the game for a while. I mean, he's like 300 years old, isn't he?
Yeah, but a lot of that he's been a soldier and doing all kinds of other different stuff. But plus he's probably not thinking in that way, especially not with this like 20-something girl,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
20 or 30-something half elf.
She's just a little girl. He wouldn't think of her that way.
I'll tell her that I want to keep heading straight for I think it's Terenia, the one that I was heading to originally.
Just heading directly southeast.
Yeah.
There's a little smile on her face, and she said, "Okay, that's probably the longest path, but that's fine."
Oh.
And she just continues to walk along with you as you head out. There is a road that leads out of this town, although it's mostly lost in sand as you continue to go further. But you can follow it along, and soon enough the sand is relatively gone. You can still see the windswept ditches of irrigation of farmland as it continues onward and onward, this long road towards a sort of mountain chain. And you can see as you get closer and closer to the mountain chain that it actually starts to get pretty high up. The road, at least that you're on, that seems to be going the direct direction. This mountain chain crosses it, not fully perpendicular, but the mountains are going slightly different south. But this road seems to be going to a pass that is on a low point of the mountains. And you reach to another abandoned town. Almost identical to the one before, but much smaller. And again, you have large abandoned buildings, small abandoned homes. And it's completely devoid of seemingly any value and any life.
Do these have like similar architecture to Hope?
To Hope? Interesting. No, they have no familiar architecture to Hope. Do you want to roll a history check?
Yeah, because now it's 2 human towns and they both have similar architecture. That's a 4.
Okay. Yeah, this has a very similar architecture to the town before, as I said. It has seemingly nothing in common with Hope. Like, not at all. Hope has... they have a lot of low rock, sort of cobblestone buildings in some respect, some timber buildings, but even the largest buildings, like the towers, are very round. The walls themselves are very round. It's very sort of organic in feel. Like it was people that didn't plan it. They just had an idea and they just kind of went with it. There's nothing that's really too structured in a lot of the ways. A lot of it is almost like impromptu architecture. This, on the other hand, the houses are perfectly aligned with the roads. The roads are at precise angles. Everything is leveled out. Even when there are differences in elevation, they are consistent. There are planes. Like someone cleared out whole levels exactly 12 feet below this and exactly 4 feet above that. And it's very consistent. And this is clearly a very heavily planned and structured sort of area. There's nothing that seems out of place. Everything fits perfectly.
This sounds more elven than human.
Well,
this sounds like the type of thing elves would do.
in
Or
terms
something.
in terms of elves in many ways they wouldn't do to this extent. While they can be they can be efficient. They still do bring in some of the organic kind of feel of it. Their buildings are often made of reusable. Yeah, they're almost always made of renewable materials. A lot of them incorporate natural features. They will build around trees or build into hillsides, things like that. They will use a lot of natural features. They very rarely will level terrain. They'll very rarely clear out, whole areas. There's not a lot of. They don't do a lot of earthwork in a sense. They use what's there and then live upon it. But this is heavily featured. This is um, it's similar to Dwarven, but not quite the extent. This is about control, essentially. This thing, they controlled this environment and planned it precisely. While dwarves, on the other hand, they have sort of build it as you need it. They don't often plan ahead, so they'll have very precise angles, but they'll have winding corridors, and they don't have straight, clean directions of going places because they just, what do we need? We need this building. Okay, we'll build this building. What do we need next? We'll need this. So put that right next to this because it's what's next. Not that it's the best place to put it, but because that's what's next. So dwarven architecture is usually their city planning is usually very winding, although precise. And elven structure is very natural, although imprecise. But this is both precise and extremely efficient. Like, you imagine that if you were to take precise steps between the wells that are both dry but also present on various street corners, that it would probably be the same number of steps. Like someone said, a well every 500 feet, and it's like perfect.
Sounds like me playing Minecraft. Anyway.
In a sense, yeah. It's like someone had a blueprint for the entire city, and then just built to the blueprint.
I'll have to ask Bahamut about that one. But similar to last time, I will find a house that's kind of out of the way, kind of as protected as I can make it. And that's where I'll want to hold up for the night.
Well, I'll add, it really only took you like 6 hours to get here.
Okay.
So you got a couple more hours if you want to keep going. But of course, you don't know what you might find. It might take a little bit if you follow the road and the path. It'll get across the mountains. You don't know how long till you find structure beyond that. So it might not be a bad idea to stop here, but that's up to you. But it is still, it's daytime and everything. It's like middle of the day.
Stop here and then potentially tomorrow try and like make it through the mountains in one burst if we can.
She says that the mountains, they're tall, but they're not wide. We should be able to get across them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way we don't have to spend another night in a cave. Potentially get ambushed by more monsters.
The houses, as I said, they're very similar in architecture to the one before. They're layered inside in a sense. They've got cooking areas and all of that. But she says that if we don't have much of a container, we might be able to use one of the wells. We can create water and have some water. She shrugs. She's like, I don't know if you bathe.
I do, but I'll look around. I'll look around the wells and try and find like a bucket.
Yeah, well, they're like fountains, I should add. It's not really
Oh,
more like
okay.
springs. It's not traditional wells like you're bringing up water. It's more like they're water sources.
Okay.
I'm not describing it too well. Akin to, I mean, they're large potential containers of. They're mostly probably for drinking water or maybe for some cooking water. They're a little more than pumps with. They're like sinks. They're like big sinks
Hmm.
on pedestals, like bird baths with a pump.
Okay.
Um, I mean, that's probably the most accurate as I described it there. It's got a pump and it's a dish about the size of a bird bath. It's enough where you could water an animal or get some water or get cooking water or splash your face or clean yourself up really quick and then just let it drain out or evaporate or whatever.
I don't
Is
know.
there a fountain in
Sorry, you
town?
were saying, Lee?
It's not important. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. You're asking for a fountain or
Yeah.
for like a sort of larger area? If you
Yeah.
explore more, you can find, if you actually kind of go through the buildings a bit more, you can eventually find an area that almost certainly is like a public bathhouse.
Hmm.
This was definitely from the tiling and from the different sort of not containers, but from the fact that there are areas for essentially pools. That this was something like a gymnasium or something.
Hmm. I'll ask her if this will work for a bath.
Um,
See,
she,
I'm
sorry, you're
sorry.
gonna say?
I'm so sorry. I swear to God, I hear this break and I'm like, this would be a really great time to say something.
Okay, go for it. What is it?
Um, basically, I was just gonna say I can't tell if her asking about the asking if he bathed or not was very forward of her, or if I'm just reading into it too much.
That sounded very forward to me.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been pushing the boundaries whenever possible.
Honestly, with what we've seen from Aldrin in the past, I wouldn't be surprised if he just walked over to the well, stripped down, and started bathing in it.
That was the exact plan.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, proceed. I'm sorry.
Okay, so she looks through a couple of them, and she says, my spell to create water. I don't know if it's enough to fill it all the way, but she kind of bites her lip a little bit. And she's like, if you make sure to take care of us, I could put all of my remaining magic into it and definitely fill up the small one here. It's like a hot tub shaped, sized pool.
Yeah, I can do that.
Let me see if I can. Let's see. Realistically, your typical hot tub. Holy crap, that's a lot of water. Okay.
Yeah, it's like
Um.
several hundred gallons or something.
Well, it depends on how, uh, but yeah, she will dump all of her spell slots into it, all of her remaining spell slots, which do a little bit math. Curious to see how much water actually gets from this. Let's see, create up to 10 gallons of clean water, plus additional for other extra one. Okay, so this particular one, she's able to kind of reach out a little bit and she begins to kind of chant along. And as she continuously makes this chant over the period of about a minute, you can see water just coming up almost from nothing, just forming and getting bigger and bigger and bigger as this sort of pool gets about half full, more
Alright.
than enough to, to sit in it and cool down and relax and rest a little bit. If
Hmm.
you were to sit on it, you would be underwater.
Okay.
It's like not quite kiddie pool deep, but it's not like full pool deep. It's at
Yeah.
most like 3 feet, but that's still
Alright.
pretty good.
Yeah. And then I'll just strip down. I'll keep the axe at arm's length so that I can reach it if need be.
There's
And
a
then
got it.
I'll climb in.
All right, she's gonna roll versus that stun. It takes her a moment to recover.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's a bit more modest than you. After you do that, she's just like she's got the vapors a bit. But yeah, I mean she'll join you, but she keeps a layer or two. Um, basically like kicks off her shoes and just kind of
Mhm.
gets her feet wet, so to speak.
Mhm.
Just is sort of there, and she just asks you because you've told a little bit more about your adventures and things. Now she's kind of asking where you're from and if you have a family.
I'll tell her about back home, but there is, to my knowledge, no family there for me.
Okay. She just kind of nods along, listening a little bit as you talk about home. But
Hmm.
eventually, you've. Yeah. Well, he's just doing his thing, and whatever. He's just doing his thing, not coming on strong per se. That's her problem for interpreting that way, I guess. But yeah, I mean, soon enough, you're a little bit pruny, which isn't too unusual. It's good to
Hmm.
finally be in water, And in fact,
Yeah.
she'll ask you, can you really breathe underwater?
As a demonstration, I'll just stick my head under there and stay down there for an abnormally long amount of time.
All right. Do you play it up? Do you try to? Uh, I'll just throw this out there because I think it would be funny. Is if you just start to do it and then just immediately fake drowning. but no,
Oh,
if you just put your head under it and just start to breathe, she's worried at first, but very impressed and amazed.
yeah.
But you can soon enough, if you want, take a long rest, dry off, and get dressed and such.
Yeah.
The
I'll
next,
clean up.
go on.
I'll clean up all of my tools and equipment and so on.
Got it. And the next day, you said you wanted to head out sort of bright and early.
Yeah.
All right. Heading through the trail through the mountains, you can certainly get to the other side. And you're a bit surprised when you get to the other side, where before it was like a barren desert as far as you can see. When you get to the other side here, it's actually pretty green. On the other side of
Hmm.
this mountain, there's trees and a lot more brush, a lot more than before. And I mean, it's like a completely different world from one side of the mountain to the other. That's
Hmm.
a bit strange. You suspect that this is, if you know much about mountains, one side of the mountain. Well, anyway, I want to get into it, but sorry, I just looked at the
The
Discord.
chat.
I did not expect to open it and see that. Um. Anyway, but you can see, as I said, fields of growth of plants and trees and things continuing on. And getting to the other side of the mountain is easy with this path already cut into it. And you can continue to walk. It looks like this is much less hills and rockiness.
Hmm.
You still come across some small streams and some dried streams, but you don't think you're going to be able to find any caves for shelter. And it also looks like most of the farmland, all of the farmland seem to be on the other side of the mountain. This seems to be, while there is still a road, and you might wonder how old this road is, the road itself seems to go on into nothing. You don't see
Hmm.
anywhere where it's going. There are no structures, no farms, no anything.
That's strange.
Potentially. So, in terms of, do you want to just go to your rest, go to find something, um, going for any particular amount of miles?
Oh, this reminds me a lot of what I called Witch Valley the last time we were in the desert,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to carefully go until we need to rest.
Okay. Now I'll add too. Uh, After you get to the other side of the mountain, you notice that while the road was going more southeast before, it's starting to kind of veer more east.
Hmm.
Do you want to continue on the road? I mean, she's walking along it, and presumably she knows where to go.
Yeah.
Presumably, although
I'll,
you're not sure how
I'll,
much you can trust that.
I'll follow. She also said she never left the village. I think I remember that.
Yeah, she's not really gone too far for sure.
Um,
She says she knows the path. She knows the way. She knows towns. She said this, but she also seems terribly naive.
uh,
You're calling her naive when Aladrin's the one that doesn't realize she's coming on to him?
Well, okay.
Oh, naive and
Yeah.
oblivious are two different things. They just often come together.
yeah.
True.
Yeah, she doesn't seem um she doesn't seem well traveled. I'll say that much, I guess.
I'll follow her lead for now.
After quite a ways, several hours, you're almost starting to get tired. The road, in fact, you're pretty sure it's going northeast.
Uh,
And you've seen it's crossed one or two other smaller branching roads, but she just continues on through.
I'll ask her, where are we headed?
She said that there's a trade settlement up here built in one of the old towns, in one of the old cities. That'll be a good
Hmm.
place to stay. We should be able to make it a little bit past nightfall.
I'm gonna. I'll trust her for now and trust her judgment, but keep on my own guard.
Okay. So you've been continuing to walk. It's starting to even get a bit dark, which isn't so bad, but it's been a long day.
Hmm.
I mean, at this point, you pretty much started out not too much longer after first light, which this time of the year is somewhere in the neighborhood of like 7 or 8 a.m. Let's call it 7 a.m. just for funsies.
Mhm.
And you've been marching. It's coming into like 6 or 7 p.m. Like you've gone, it's been a long march. You, of course, are quite strenuous, or you're able to, you have quite a bit of stamina. There's no concern. I'm not even making you roll for a walk that's this long, considering you're fully hydrated and fully fed. But you can see she is starting to drag a bit, and she's just saying through occasional huff breaths, "We're almost there. Just a little further."
Hmm. I'll offer to carry her the rest of the way if she's sure that this is the right way to go.
She says that, "Oh, you don't have to do that. It won't be very far. I can do it. I can do it. Don't worry."
If
She
she's sure.
she coughs a little bit. You can see she's starting to favor the leg that was bit by the beast before. A limp that you didn't notice before, but you do notice now.
Hmm. I'll tell her that the offer is always open and still stick close to her.
All right. So overall, let's see. You walk about, what's your movement speed again?
40 feet.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So you're easily going like 4 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. So a little bit before the full sunset, while it's getting dark, it's not. I should add, it's after sunset, but it's while the sky still has a little residual glow before the sun
Hmm.
has gone further out of view. You begin to see. If it were hotter, you might think it's a mirage, but you think that this is another abandoned town. And she says, there. Oh, the good were there. Whew. And go on.
I'm gonna ask her, how are these maps you're navigating from?
She says, "Oh, I don't have a map. I've just walked this road before. I've done it a couple times. Sometimes we trade, when we need things. It's not often, but sometimes.
All of these towns are abandoned.
This one's not anymore.
Can I see people walking around?
No. As you come further into the town, and she's continuing to walk full speed, and I mean, it's sparse, but it's still there. It's sort of the outskirts of the town, where
Hmm.
before it was quite small. But this one, it's fairly dense, and you can continue to walk through it. And she says, "This one's really big, but trust me."
Hmm.
And she continues to walk with you for to the point where the darkness goes entirely as you're making your way through this path. And as the dark is fully gone, you can actually start to see just a little bit occasionally when you come up on a hill that these buildings are, still dominating. Down the road, you can see light, definitely light, and you can make your way further and further. Again, like another hour through this massive city, till eventually you reach a point where you see a big tent, like a really big tent, like
Huh.
massive, like circus tent, big, and it's blue. Although you can't really tell that in the darkness, I guess. But
Huh.
you can see this big, massive circus tent, and she says, "Here," and she pulls it aside, and inside is essentially like a tavern, and it has stone floor, except it's just inside of a tent, a very large tent. And inside there are a couple of people, not many, but they seem to just be enjoying a bit of a supper and talking amongst themselves. A couple of families, really. And you're greeted by presumably the I don't want to say owner, but
Hmm.
someone greets you and comes forward and makes a bit of a hand signal. You're not quite sure what it means, but then right beside you, Adira makes one back, and they sort of nod to each other. And let's see, you speak Elvish, yes?
Yes.
She speaks, the person that greets you, she speaks in Elvish to Adira, welcoming her and uh, invites her in from the cold. You imagine it's some sort of a traditional greeting, and Adira responds in thanks and thanks her for kindness. And Adira, kind of points towards one of the. There's like more like braziers, like burning coals, different pits, like fire pits but they're in stacks. I don't want to say burning barrels, but you guys have probably seen those things. Like you put them on balconies, and you can have like little campfires.
Oh yeah.
Basically that, and there's just little fires around that most of these people are kind of sitting around. And she just kind of walks over to one, and she says, "They like us here. We can provide, supplies and things. They'll usually give us good trade." And she nods,
Hmm.
and she says, "Do you want real food, or are you fine with my good berries?" I'll
I
add good
see.
berries. Good berries they're not fun to live on.
Yeah,
Like it's sustenance, not
but
great.
it's not great. Yeah.
It's not filling at all. Like your stomach is probably shrunk quite substantially. You're definitely like you're probably becoming a bit gaunt in some respect.
Yeah. I'll take the real food.
She nods and she says, "Yeah, real food sounds good." And she goes up and speaks to the woman again, and brings back to the low table a tray of breads and cheeses, and she'll happily have dinner with you.
Hmm. I'll tell
After,
her
or go
all
on.
about the weird stuff that Fion's cooked and that we've eaten.
She especially asked about, and like, how did the river monster taste after it was in the jar for that long? Like, I can't
About
even imagine that.
about as well as can be expected.
Mm. But the eels were okay.
Oh yeah, the eels are good.
It's a lot of seafood. He seems to have a thing for that.
We spend a lot of time around the ocean.
And of course, you recall, Aladrin, that he actually was a sushi chef when
Hmm.
you first met him. That was his day job, in a sense.
Hmm.
And then he got paid to just cook things all day long. That's all
Yeah.
he did was just cut up fish.
Yeah.
She just shakes her head. City people are weird.
We're an eclectic group.
Do you like the city?
I mean, it's easier to find food in the city.
There's plenty of food out here in nature too.
Yeah. But most of the time, that food isn't trying to kill me.
She smiles and nods. She says, "Yeah, that can happen."
Even though I did once throw a displacer beast.
What's a displacer beast?
Think like a tiger and an octopus had a child.
You can see that she's putting those things together in her head, and then you can see the exact moment where the accomplishment occurred in her head where they were put together, and the immediate like squirmish kind of, yeah, you
Yeah,
you
yeah.
threw one. What did you throw, like
At
off a
another one.
cliff or
Oh.
at another one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad enough that there were one. There are two of those things in the world. Ew.
They're even
That's
worse
from a
because they're
bunch.
blurry.
Yeah.
It's
They're
probably
blurry.
bundles of
Yeah, they're blurry.
them. Blurry, you can't see him that well. I just picked him up and threw him at his owner. And his brother, I guess.
You just picked it up and threw it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I never would have thought to throw an animal at another animal.
It's a very surprisingly good tactic to get rid of them.
Only for Eldrin.
Yeah. A tactic? Have you done this before?
I mean, I've at least thought about doing it before.
You've actually done it a couple of times. You've thrown dwarves at other dwarves. You've thrown like it's happened multiple times.
I'm starting to
I
think
know it's
Aldrin's
like
middle name is
other
Yeet.
Yeah.
throwing creatures at other creatures is just a very good way to get rid of them.
Soon enough, most of the families kind of go out, and soon enough, it's just you and her and the proprietor of this strange establishment. And she says, they've got beds here. If you're tired of sleeping on the ground, should we
It does
rent
sound nice
one?
to actually get a bed, yeah.
Is this on? I think she's asking if you want to get one room or two.
Yeah.
I don't think I have enough gold for 2 rooms, depending. I think I have like 6 gold.
She says, I don't think they'll take that here anyway.
Move.
I mean, they might, but
Yeah, I think 1 bed, if we can afford it.
she nods and she goes off and talks to the woman. And there's some discussion, and you can see that she gives her, or rather, Adira gives the woman a couple of pouches, and the woman inspects the contents,
Pouches.
and there seems to be an agreement made, and hands are shook, and Adira comes back and sits beside you and says, "Well, we should be set for the night."
Alodrin could pay too, as long as they accepted work, and that work involved lifting things or chopping things in half.
Yes,
That I can do.
Or
That
yeeting things.
yes, or yeah, there are substantial things that Aldrin can do for that. But she will, um, soon enough drag you off to bed, and you can have a long rest.
Yeah.
Okay, so he does get a long rest.
I'm not gonna slurry the record with what she attempts, but there is rest involved. But yeah. So with everyone kind of going back to camp in one area and the other one taking a long rest, I think that this is a pretty good time to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.